Welcome to worship at Holmeswood. I'm Erin McDaniel. So good to worship with you this morning. And welcome to those of you who are online worshiping. If you are online, please greet each other in the comment box. If this is your first time to worship at Holmeswood, we're so glad you're here. There are water fountains and restrooms, including gender-neutral restrooms, in the Terry Brown gathering space just outside the sanctuary. We want to get to know you, so please use the QR code on the worship bulletin or on the screen, or complete a card in the back of the pew to let us know how you prefer to connect with Holmeswood. When you complete this information, $10 will be donated in your honor to the Micah Ministry. I have a few announcements to share. First, Holy Week begins today. So let's talk about the Holy Week schedule. It's all on the screen, so you might consider taking a photo of it with your phone so you have it easily accessible. On Maundy Thursday, we will have a 6 p.m. service with a soup dinner. On Good Friday, we will have a service of music and reflection at 6 p.m. On Easter Sunday, we will have a sunrise service at Mount Moriah, in addition to our usual 10:15 worship service here in the sanctuary. We will also have a light breakfast in the fellowship hall after the sunrise service before worship. Join us as we journey together with Christ through this central story in the Christian life. Next, nature walks. For the 4 Saturdays after Easter, Carmen Ramirez will lead nature walks at the Indian Creek Greenway Trail from 9 to 10 a.m. We will be encouraged on these walks to observe our natural surroundings, enjoy the spring blooms, and appreciate the beauty of nature. As we embrace nature, we will discuss verses that remind us to celebrate the beauty God provides. Everyone is welcome. Next, our youth open doors. The high school youth group would like to invite everyone to attend a viewing and discussion of the documentary film Under the Bridge, The Criminalization of Homelessness, during the BFG hours Sunday, April 27th and May 4th. This event will be held in the prayer garden, and the discussion and conversations will be facilitated by students in the youth group. And lastly, our pancake breakfast. The middle school and high school youth will be serving pancakes after worship on April 27th to help raise funds for their upcoming mission trip this summer. They are participating in a Be the Neighbor trip to Houston, Texas, July 20th through 25th, where they will learn more about and have service opportunities with refugees. Please join us to enjoy a pancake meal and support our youth. Any donation is appreciated. As we join together in worship today, we remember the crowds that celebrated Jesus' arrival in Jerusalem. We want to walk with Jesus and follow him in his way. That way leads us through darkness and trial to the light of new creation. Whatever darkness you are facing, know that God is with you. Whatever goodness you are celebrating, know that God's love blesses you. You are invited to bring your whole life and your whole self before God in this place. Let's worship.
Good morning, Holmeswood. As you're able, would you stand and join us as we sing together?
Jesus' name, let angels prostrate fall.
Let every kindred, every tribe,
Every kindred, every tribe on this terrestrial ball, to him all majesty ascribe and crown him Lord of all. To him all majesty ascribe and crown him Lord of all. And with yonder sacred throng, we at his feet may fall. We'll join the everlasting song and crown him Lord of all. We'll join the everlasting song and crown him Lord of all.
Good morning. My name is Miranda Melton, and I have the pleasure of giving you a little information about some volunteer work that I have been able to do with our youth and some of the other members of this church. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the ministry, and then Allison's going to come up and give you her personal experience. So we have been volunteering at what's called the Micah Ministry, which is an urban outreach mission of Independence Boulevard Christian Church. And what we do there is we're part of a team that creates home-cooked meals for the food insecure in our neighborhood. And so it is a big process where we basically break out into sections, into stations, and there's meals, of course, that we serve, but there's also medical supplies that can be given. You can get your flu shots, your COVID vaccines, keeping up with that kind of stuff. There are clothing items. There is pet supplies for those homeless that have dogs that they keep as their companions. So it is a well-oiled machine that takes a lot of volunteers. On a Monday night, they will serve anywhere from 200 to 300 people, but provide upwards of 1,200 to 1,300 meals because you are allowed to take a meal to go. I think up to 2 meals that they can take to go with them, maybe for a friend that couldn't make it, or for later if they would like to eat again. So there's a to-go station, there's the right now station. They get served seconds and thirds. There is dessert and drinks and a warm place. And most importantly, there are people to have good conversation with, to just kind of take a load off and rest, and to understand that God is in all of us and that we love you and we want to help you, and we want you to be safe. And so with that, I'll let Allison come up and give you some more details.
Okay, thank you so much, Miranda. My name is Allison, and I'm here to talk a little bit about Micah Ministries, which is the youth group mission, and why it's such an important place to me and also to the entire city. I feel like it's a really important place that can bring so many people together from doing one thing. I learned about Micah a little less than a year ago, and I still try and go when I can. When I first started going, I was just going for the community service hours, which sounds like a really bad thing to say, but I went a few times, and I really started to understand how important it was and how much I just loved going and talking to everyone there. Micah is such an important place because it's all about feeding people in our city, like in our community. And this is why I think it's a perfect example of doing what Christ wants us to do and really fulfilling God's plan for his world. There are so many places in the city where people feel really disconnected because of their social class, and they feel like they're cast out, and places like Micah Ministry really help to bring people together. Lots of people come through Micah every single Monday to get a meal, and so many of them are like the funniest and the nicest people I've ever met. But like personally, I wouldn't have met any of the people if I hadn't been going to Micah, which makes me really sad because there's so many people that you'll never meet in your life, but I feel like everyone should have the honor of meeting. And this brings me to my last point, which is the effect that Micah has had on my life personally. When I go to Micah, people recognize me and tell me that they will see me next week, which is something when I started, I didn't think would mean a lot to me, but it brings me so much joy when you go and people ask about like your week and how your day is going, and it brings me so much joy when I interact with the people at Micah, because it joins everyone in a space where it doesn't matter your social class or anything, and everyone can just be nice and funny, and it's not weird, which it shouldn't be seen as weird anyways. And these are just a few reasons why I love Micah and I love going, and I feel like places like Micah Ministries really embody the words of Christ. Thank you for listening.
Let's rise and sing together, Hosanna, loud Hosanna. Hosanna, loud Hosanna, the little children sang. The pillared court and temple, the lovely anthem rang. To Jesus who had blessed them, those folded to his breast, the children sang their praises. From all that they follow, among the joyful crowd, the victory pomp and shading, with praises clear and loud, the Lord of earth and heaven rode on in holy state, nor scorned the little children on his bidding wait. Hosanna in the highest, that ancient song we sing, for Christ is our Redeemer, the Lord of heaven, our King. Oh, may we ever praise him with heart and life and voice, and in his graceful presence eternally rejoice.
And we are ready now. If the children would like to come forward to the front pew for our children's moment, children's time. Welcome. This is an exciting day here at Holmeswood, isn't it? Or some of you see the bounce house when you came in? Come on down. Good morning, good morning. Hi, everybody. We are so glad. There's my big kids, all right. We are so glad you're all here again. It makes all of our hearts, there's our big kids, there we go. All of our hearts happy. Happy, happy hearts when you're here with us for worship. It makes everybody smile bigger. All right, we have been for the past few weeks, haven't we? We've been learning about what happens in the weeks leading up to Easter. And I thought today we'd play a little game. You might call it a quiz, but that sounds like school. So instead we're going to call it a little game of true or false. Okay. The 6 weeks leading up to the mystery of Easter are known as the season of basketball. True or false? The 6 weeks in the church, is that true or false? Yeah, false. It's not basketball. What's it called? The 6 weeks? The season of Lent. That's right. Okay, good job. Okay, the color we use to recognize the season of Lent is chartreuse. I learned that word this week. True or false?
False.
False. What color is it that we recognize as we're in Lent? Purple. All right. Yeah, good job. Okay, that was false. In the season of Lent, we are all on our way to Jerusalem with Jesus to celebrate the feast of the Passover, where we remember how God led the people through the waters to freedom. True or false? True. True. Is that true? All right, good deal. Jesus decides to ride into Jerusalem on a big horse.
False.
False.
He rides in on a donkey.
He rides in on a donkey, okay. The crowds are so excited that Jesus is coming that they wave palm branches and spread cloaks on the path as he rides in. True, okay. And Jesus shouts from the donkey as he rides into town, "I am the king."
False.
Did he do that? False. Okay, good job, good job, good job. Okay, so today we pick up the story where Jesus now has made it into town. They've celebrated the feast of the Passover. And then Jesus, those people that didn't like what he was doing, have arrested him. And so here in big worship today, Pastor David's going to read the part of the story where he is talking with the governor who's trying to figure out what he's going to do with him, the governor Pilate. And Pilate is asking Pilate, who are you? What are you about? And Pilate asks him, are you a king? And Jesus says, my kingdom's not here. And then he says, but are you a king? And Jesus says, I came to tell you and show you the truth. Truth. So then Pilate says, and this is what we're all pondering and wondering and thinking about today, what is truth? What is truth? Jesus came to show us. So, because we're going to be wondering about that today, the special song that we have to go with worship today is called What is Truth? And we're going to watch a video of the man singing that song to help us, the grown-ups and us kids, think about what is truth and what does it have to do with Jesus, right? Okay. I'm going to sit here, we're going to watch our song, and then we will be dismissed to worship and wonder. And parents, if you don't know where that room is, find a friend who will take you down to the end of the hallway. Tara will show you where we pick up our kids after worship and wonder. All right, let's see it.
The old man turned off the radio, said, where did all of the old songs go? Kids sure play funny music these days, play it in the strangest ways. He said, it seemed to me like they've all gone wild. It was peaceful back when I was a child. Well, man, could it be that the girls and boys trying to be heard above your noise, and the lonely voice of youth cries, what is truth? The little boy of 3 sitting on the floor looks up and says, Daddy, what is war? Son, that's when people fight and die. Little boy of 3 says, Daddy, why? Young man of 17 in Sunday school, being taught the golden rule. And by the time another year's gone around, it may be his turn to lay his life down. Can you blame the voice of youth for asking, what is truth? Young man sitting on a witness stand, man with the book says, raise your hand. Repeat after me, I solemnly swear. Judge looks down at his long hair. And although the young man solemnly swore, nobody seemed to hear anymore. And it didn't really matter if the truth was there. It was the cut of his clothes and the length of his hair. And the lonely voice of youth cries, what is truth? Young girl dancing to the latest beat, found new ways to move her feet. Young man speaking in the city square, trying to tell somebody that he cares. Yeah, the ones that you're calling wild, gonna be the leaders in a little while. This old world's waking to a newborn day, and I solemnly swear it'll be their way. You better help that voice of youth find what is truth. And the lonely voice of youth cries, what is truth?
This season of Lent, we've explored the theme, Songs for a New World. And we're using songs you won't find in a hymnal. You won't find on K-Love or anything like that. You'll find these songs on the radio or Spotify on stations that aren't normally associated with the church. And part of what we are intentionally doing is exploring the goodness, the sacredness that is all around us. If we have eyes to see, if we have ears to hear. Now, if you know me well enough, if we're going to have a playlist of secular songs, I'm going to make sure Johnny Cash is somewhere in there. Those of you that don't know, my Miriam oldest child, her middle name is June, named after June Carter. I love Johnny. And this song, What is Truth, is a provocative song. In April of 1970, Johnny Cash was invited by President Nixon to offer a performance there in the White House. And Nixon had the arrogance to tell Johnny Cash which songs to sing. Now, if you know musicians at all, they don't do very well at being told exactly what to do. And if you know Johnny Cash at all, he will never follow authority. So even so, when the president invites him and asks him to sing at the White House and to sing this playlist, what's really going on is Nixon is using Cash as a puppet to find positive favor with Southern votes. Cash is not going to be put inside of a box. So without any kind of fanfare or announcement or approval by the White House, Cash goes there and sings not the selected, predetermined playlist, but sings the song anti-government, anti-hippie, What is Truth? He's telling a story. He's singing power through music. Mr. President, you think you know what power looks like. You think you know what truth looks like. Let me sing a thorn in your side. What is truth? Today, you and I have spent the first part of the service rehearsing and imagining Jesus coming into Jerusalem, and this is an anti-parade. It was Caesars who would be marched into the parade in the cities after a victorious battle. And then people would line the streets and sing their praises. Well, imagine Jesus coming on the backside of Jerusalem. Not riding in on a big horse, but in the lowliness of a donkey. And maybe a handful of peasants were around waving their palm branches, imagining what Jesus might look like as king, as victor, as ruler. But if you and I have been paying attention, Jesus as king and reign and power and ruling looks nothing like Caesar, nothing like military, nothing like might. Jesus is asking yet again, will you follow me along my way? As the week progresses, the wonderful celebration turns into deep agony, and Jesus is arrested, and he finds himself in the house of Pilate, the Roman leader of the area, the one who can lower the boom. And Pilate is wanting to know, Jesus, who are you? I want to be on your side. I'm trying to help you. I'm even trying to save you, Jesus, but I need for you to shoot it straight. Tell me who you are and what you are about. John tells the story this way in John 18, verses 33 through 38. Then Pilate, the Roman leader, entered the headquarters again and summoned Jesus and asked him, "Are you king of the Jews?" Jesus answered him, "Do you ask this on your own, or do others tell you about me?" Pilate replied, "I am not a Jew, am I? Your own nation and the chief priests have handed you over to me. What have you done?" Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not from this world. If my kingdom were from this world, my followers would be fighting to keep me from being handed over to the Jews. But as it is, my kingdom is not from here." Pilate asked him, "So you are a king?" Jesus answered, "No, it is you say that I am a king. For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone who belongs to the truth listens to my voice." Pilate asked him, "What is truth?" After he had said this, Pilate went out to the Jews again and told them, "I find no case against him." What is truth? In 2016, the Webster's Dictionary word of the year was post-truth. Post-truth. It's as if you and I are living in a post-truth kind of a day. Truth is becoming more and more difficult to discern these days. It's that feelings have more weight in decision-making than actual evidence. The expert voice in various fields is becoming more and more undermined. Echo chambers reinforce preconceived notions that you and I hold. News stations are more connected to the entertainment business than actually giving the news. Clicks and ratings are more valued than telling the truth. You can't even watch a video these days and believe that what you see with your eyes is truth, thanks to the advent of AI. Of course, we did not get here just overnight. Look and consider the epics of philosophy, of moving from the sense of enlightenment to modernity, to post-modernity, to now you and I are living in a time that's called postmodernism. Modernity was focused on, and everyone tried to get towards objective truth. That's what the central focus of modernity was. And then comes along postmodernism, and it's as if the pendulum swung from objective truth to subjective truth. Truth is relative, you know. Experience deeply, deeply matters. And now we're entering into a time, and we're on a day that's known as postmodernism. That there is, on one hand, a grasp and a hopeful and yearning for objective truth. But the pendulum has swung a bit, and it says, well, you know what? Your experience matters as well. Somehow subjective and objective dance with one another. But spoiler alert, your lived experience and my lived experience might not be the exact same. And our truths are true, but they had to dance and swirl together with one another. A lawyer friend told me the other day that a lesson that he has learned over many years of practicing law is that he and his clients, what he says, they only hold a piece of truth. They do not possess the whole truth. Why, the more witnesses that he questions, the more cases in which he has tried, the more he has realized that truth is never as simple as he wants or tries to make it. Truth is difficult to find. Where is truth? What is truth? Is your truth the same as mine? Maybe that's why Jesus does not offer Pilate a straight answer. Pilate just wants the clear-cut facts. Pilate wants simple answers, yes or no answers. What have you done? So you are a king? Which is it, Jesus? Tell it to me straight. Give me the answer. But Jesus shows Pilate, and he shows each of us, that truth is not simple as we want it to be. Jesus knows that truth is more than an answer. Truth cannot be possessed. Rather, truth is to be lived. Why, over 3 years of his public ministry, Jesus both spoke of truth and he embodied truth. Jesus came into the world to tell us about the truth, to show us about what truth looks like in human life, and to teach us how to be a part of and belong to that truth. The truth that Jesus is talking about is the truth of love and peace, the truth of compassion, forgiveness, the truth of nonviolence and welcome and inclusivity. He embodied this truth. He is this truth, which is the truth of God. Here's the thing, though. Jesus never asks you and me to simply possess the truth about him. Instead, he asks us to belong to the truth and let ourselves be possessed by his truth. What I'm trying to say is this. Jesus is not nearly as concerned about each of us knowing facts about him. Jesus, what are you really about? What facts do you want me to know? No, Jesus is much more concerned about each of us following and embodying his way of his truth. Truth is foundational to who we are as children of God. Truth must seep and flow through us into all of our relationships. Truth is part of the heart of how Christ imagines you. And that's a lesson Pilate does not seem to grasp. It's a lesson our world so desperately needs to learn. It's a lesson I am still learning. And maybe you are as well. So what is Jesus' truth? Which is to say, what is God's truth? Blessed are the peacemakers. Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me. Feed the hungry, clothe the naked, give drink to the thirsty, welcome the stranger, visit the prisoner, look after the sick. Do good to those who hurt you. Love your enemies. Oh my. Be merciful, meek, and pure of heart. Don't be afraid to mourn. Now the tax collectors and sinners were drawing near to him. And the Pharisees and the scribes grumbled, saying, "This man receives sinners and eats with them." What is truth, Jesus? What would a church look like if they fully embodied this kind of truth? What would a follower of truth look like if they fully embodied this kind of way? A handful of years ago, you and I were invited to read alongside me the book All the Young Men by Ruth Coker Burks. Ruth Coker Burks was still alive, but her main story begins in the 1980s. This is when the AIDS epidemic was really starting to ratchet up. Some of you might remember that time period. There was a lot of mistruth rampantly being told and embodied around the U.S. and the world. It was prejudice and scarceness and pushing away. The helpers were hard to find in this time. Few doctors wanted to work with patients who had AIDS. Churches, who are in the business of offering support and comfort, closed their doors to victims of AIDS. It was a cold, cold time. But there was one woman in Hot Springs, Arkansas, Ruth Coker Burks. Coker Burks had no medical degree. She had no formal training. What she had, though, was an empathetic soul and a personal resolve to sift through the news, through the bias of the news, to find truth. And what she heard, what she saw, what she lived was that people were dying of AIDS, and they needed help. They needed support. They needed truth in their lives. And what shunned her and stunned her was that she felt utterly alone. She would go into hospital rooms and simply hold the hands of patients who had AIDS. Took off the gloves, took off the robe, touched hand to hand. And when she would do this, her friends turned their back. When she would do this, she was kicked out of the Methodist church there in Arkansas. When she would do this, she found herself utterly alone. And she was okay with that because she was embodying truth. She was embodying the way of Christ. It was her life, right? But all of a sudden it hit her more deeply when her little daughter, 11 years old, had a birthday party and not one friend showed up. And she realized that embodying this kind of truth was affecting more than her. It was affecting her daughter as well. Coker Burks tells the story this way. She says, after the party when no one showed up, she said, "My daughter Allison, do you get teased at school?" Her daughter didn't answer. "What do the kids say?" Allison paused a long time, and when she spoke, there was a hardness in her voice. "People say not to play with me. They say I'll give them AIDS." "Kids say that?" Coker Burks replies. "No. Grown-ups tell kids that." "Who?" "Everybody," Allison said. "Everybody knows." The mother replies, "I'm so sorry." And her little daughter says, "It's not your fault. It's what we do." It's not your fault. This is what we do. This, following the truth, embodying truth, seeking after truth, even when everyone else leaves. It's not your fault. It's what we do. May you and I speak truth. May we follow truth. May we embody truth. Because that's what we do.
What will you do to embody truth? Now is the time that we come to respond to David's words. You can respond in several ways. Offerings can be put in the baskets up here. If you need help, raise your hand and a deacon will come help you. You can give electronically with the QR code that's up on the screen or that is in your bulletin. Spiritually, you can respond to what God is doing in your life. You can explore baptism, church membership, or by asking for prayer. Pastor David will be at the front. You are invited to stand as we sing and respond.
give life, you are love. You bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. You give life, you give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only.
As we begin the sacredness of this week, of this holy week, hear very clearly the fullness of Christ is in you and is all around you. And you are loved just the way you are. After the benediction, feel free to go to the bunny hop outside. Have fun. Thank you to Jody. I think Jody already slipped out. But thank you to Jody and Josh for helping organize and pull all of this together. Thank you to Tammy and her crew for helping organize and pull all of this together. This is so very good. as you go from this place. Go as an individual awareness of the truth that is around and within you. Go with the confidence of embodying the truth. Go with the peace of truth, which is to say, the peace of Christ. And may we all go singing this song in our soul.
It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. Amen. Go in peace.